On Larry King Now, Alan Cumming, the Broadway star, opens up about a painful childhood.
I remember it being just silent. We constantly were just trying not to incur his rage.
On reprising his iconic role in Cabaret.
I just also thought, wouldn't it be great to be doing this, dancing my tits off on a Broadway stage with girls half my age when I was 50.
Plus,
going out into public situations, it can be, you know, dodgy and it's, or just have more issues. So I bring the party to me.
all next on Larry King Now. Welcome to Larry King Now, an honor to interview today Tony Award-winning actor. He is also a singer, producer, and director, the great Alan Cumming. He appears on the Emmy Award-winning show The Good Wife, perhaps best known for his portrayal of the MC in the Broadway musical Cabaret, a role he recently reprised. He also has a new memoir entitled Not My Father's Son, both powerful and moving. I bought a copy of this 3 weeks ago before I even knew you were coming.
Well, you could have got it for free.
Because I've admired you for so long. All right, the title. You are not your father's son?
Well, you have to read the book, but it's because my father, but basically 4 years ago, I was asked to do that television show, Who Do You Think You Are? It's an American version, but I did the BBC version. And they were going to find out stuff about my maternal grandfather. And they asked, and I haven't seen my father for many, many years because he was very violent and really not a very nice man. And he was estranged from all of us. But they'd asked if they could interview him about the fact that I was doing, before they decided on my grandfather as the main thrust of the story, they were inviting all my relatives to be interviewed. And they said, could they interview him? I was like, all right, you know, if you can find him, and I don't mind, but I don't want him to be in the show. So he knew I was doing it. He refused to be interviewed, but he knew I was doing it. And so 2 days before I began the filming of this odyssey, trying to find out the mystery about my grandfather, my brother came to my apartment and told me that my dad had told him to tell me that I was not his son.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was it like? Oh, I can't wait to read all about it. What was it like? Was he physically violent?
He's physically violent and emotionally very, you know, abusive. And yeah, it was really, I mean, I lived in terror. I mean, truly, my mum and my brother and I, it was like, you know, every day was just, in a funny sort of way, I remember it being just silent. We constantly were just trying not to incur his rage and his violence.
Alcohol related?
No. I mean, he liked to drink, but he wasn't an alcoholic by any means. I actually now think, and partly from writing this book and talking so much about it, I think he, you know, was mentally ill and diagnosed with some personality disorder.
Did your mother try to leave him?
Yes, she did. And that was not, I mean, she eventually did. Was able to when she got more financially secure and independent of him. But, you know, it was I grew up in a country estate in the middle of Scotland. It was really a very feudal society. The idea of my mum divorcing my dad was impossible then.
Were you well off?
No. My dad was the head forester, and we weren't well off. But I mean, we weren't like poverty-stricken. But we were. It was, you know, she wasn't able to just up and go.
Did he get to see your success?
Yeah, I mean, he only died since this happened. He obviously, but my success for him was kind of difficult. I think it was a lot of press intrusion to him because it was known that we were estranged, and I really didn't see him that much after I was in my sort of early 20s. I didn't kind of have any communication with him.
Did you ever confront him?
Yeah, when I was 28, I had this nervous breakdown actually, and because I was trying to be a father myself, and I remembered all these things that had happened, and I spoke with my brother, and after a long time, we realised the thing we needed to do was to go and confront my dad, and so we did, and that was the last time I ever spoke to him until this time when he called me and told me that.
Why write this?
A variety of reasons. Initially, it was because I just couldn't stop talking about it. I couldn't. It happened, that summer happened, and I found all this stuff about my grandfather as well. I mean, I found out my grandfather died in Malaysia playing Russian roulette. I know. And so then even after that, after, you know, I did all the DNA tests and had to discuss everything with my father. And even after that happened, there was still more. He died, and then more stuff happened that went on and on and on. And it was just this thing I just felt I needed to expunge in some way. And also, by that point, I realised that I've written all my life. I'd written a book before, but I wanted to do something that was more personal and more about what my life is really like. And then this happened to me, and I thought, well, it's a much more holistic vision of who I am.
I'm going to read something from the book of your father's affairs. Not only did he have the audacity to arrange this encounter and walk them to their car, leaving Mum and me to finish our sandwiches in shameful silence, but when he came back, he pretended that their appearance was a total coincidence. Even worse, he actually documented that sad day, that day when he stepped over the line of respect and made us complicit witnesses to his transgression by taking his photograph.
Yeah, isn't that awful? And I think that photograph is so... My mother just looks...
And
lost.
He was with another woman?
There was a woman he was having an affair with, and we went to the beach. We were all going... My brother wasn't there. He was away playing football or something. But it was all of a sudden, we're going to the beach. We never went to the beach. We never did anything as a family, really. And I couldn't believe it. We were going to the beach. It was a sunny day in Scotland. It seemed like the gods were smiling on us, yeah. And then when we were having our sandwiches, and all of a sudden this woman and her son appeared. And even at that age, I'm probably, I don't know, maybe 10, or less, I knew, and my mum knew, and it was this really stilted, awful conversation. And then he walked into the car, and then he came back and took this photo. And I just think it's just haunting.
Hard to look at?
Yeah, it is. Because I'm still looking at the camera, trying to make sure everything's okay. And my mum's just like, oh, shit, you know.
We have a picture of your parents' wedding, I think. Want to put that up?
There they are, yeah.
Yeah, your father is rather charismatic. And she was very pretty.
Yeah, yeah. It's so funny, someone said about that, you know, I've been doing signings and things and a lot of stuff about the book, and someone said, but they look so happy on their wedding day picture. I said, well, doesn't everyone? You know, I mean, you'd hope you would look happy on your
Did you have any happy moments?
I mean, I know there have been some. I know but I write about that in the book. I find it really difficult. I wanted, for just even the sake of balance, to not make it just a diatribe about how awful it was. So I wrote about how I really tried hard to remember things. And I do remember a couple of moments. And there's other pictures in the book where I know my father must have taken this picture when I was a little boy and I'm on a go-kart and things. But actually, when I look at that picture, it is clouded by some, you know, humiliation and
How do you treat your brother?
Oh, I love him. We are very...
How did he treat him?
Oh, how did he treat him? The same. And then... But then my brother was 6 years older than me, so when he left home, there was a... There he is. I'm the little one, of course. When my brother left home, there was a spell in my early teens where I was on my own, and that was really, really difficult.
More with the Tony Award-winning actor, the brilliant Alan Cumming. The book is Not My Father's Son, a memoir. Stay with us. The book, Not My Father's Son, the author Alan Cumming, it's going to be a runaway bestseller.
It's actually just last week it got on the New York Times bestseller list, I feel.
I'll read again from page 4. You write, I had learned from a very young age to interpret the tone of every word he uttered, his body language, the energy he brought into a room. It has not been pleasant as an adult to realize that dealing with my father's violence was the beginning of my studies of acting. How so?
Well, just by what I say there, like I had to... Because, you know, when you're an actor, you have to kind of understand the mood, understand the pace of something, be present, and hide things or put facades up. Pretend, yeah. But very much a thing about, you know, this coming into a situation, I think, what's going on here? That's what acting should be, I think, just kind of being really in the moment, understanding what's happening around you. And it was during the writing of it, I just realised so many instances where what I was doing was acting. And also, you know, the other thing, protecting my father so much. So my mum and my brother and I just protected him and protected him and protected him. And
why?
Because I think when you're abused, you are embarrassed and humiliated by the abuse. And also, so you don't want to kind of admit that it's happening, so you make excuses for the abuser.
Did he ever say he was sorry?
No.
What's your brother doing?
He is a property manager, and he lives in Southampton in England. He's married and got kids.
Did you support Scotland's independence?
Oh, Larry, I totally did. I was just telling your producer, I went there right before, like a week before the referendum, and campaigned with Nicola Sturgeon, who's now going to be the First Minister. She was the Deputy First Minister. And it was really I was so passionate about it, and I felt, I mean, not just because, I mean, I realised that in retrospect that for me it was such a big thing, because self-determination and optimism and hope and positivity, and not just letting the establishment tell us what to do, who kind of disdain us. That's what I fight against in my life as well.
Why did they turn it down?
Because actually the day I was there, they brought out the Better Together campaign via Gordon Brown, the former Prime Minister, brought out this thing called Devo Max, which is basically saying, we're going to give you all these powers, extra powers to the Scottish Parliament. So you don't really need to be independent because you're going to have all this stuff.
Better together.
Yeah. But so people, and what's happened now is, of course, they've immediately reneged on these powers. There's all these conditions. It's going to take years. And so the Yes campaign is kind of still going on, and people who voted no because they thought they were going to get these Devo Max powers are furious.
So when can you get another referendum?
I don't know. It depends on who gets in at the next general election. But I think it's an exciting time for Scotland, and also the fact that 86% of the population came out to vote. 86, and everyone is so engaged politically right now. It's a very. I mean, I'm so proud of my country just for that alone.
I got it. Okay, what brought you back to do Cabaret again?
I don't know. It felt like it was long enough time had passed. Like it was 16 years since I'd done it. It's 15 years since I left it. I felt that it's one of these shows that is, and the production that we did, it's such a great show. It has such a lot to say about the dangers of being complacent in our world, and how, you know, embracing difference and all these really positive, or not necessarily positive, but really important messages. And also, you know, I'm going to be 50 in a couple of months, and I just also thought, wouldn't it be great to be doing this, dancing my tits off on a Broadway stage with girls half my age when I was 50.
What's it like to work with Michelle Williams?
She's great. I mean, she's a really intense and amazing actress, and I don't actually do that much with the Sally
I know,
Pauls.
because
So we
her
pass
scenes are more with the young
Cliff, yeah. So, but she's, you know, I really admire her. I think she's a really great actor, and what's been lovely is that, you know, she. So when I met her before this all happened, she came up to me at a party and said, you know, she saw it when she was like in her teens, and it really inspired her, and blah, blah, blah. And now she's playing it. And actually, you know, in a few weeks, Emma Stone is taking over.
I know.
And the same thing happened. But Emma was 9 years old when she saw me and Natasha.
Have you rehearsed with Emma already?
Not yet, no. She's in rehearsals now, though. But she was 9, and it's kind of a racy show.
How do you see that character? What does he represent?
Well, I think that's exactly it. He's not really a character. He is a representative. He's kind of like a symbol or a cipher, kind of like a Pied Piper character, guiding the audience through. You know, he is the master of ceremonies, not just of the piece, but of the evening in the theatre, in the building. And I think you have to, well, what I try and do is I try and, you know, get the audience to feel something and then immediately slap them across the face for feeling that.
You never saw Joel Grey do it?
Only not in live. I saw the movie, of course, but.
What do you always like singing Welcome?
It's. I mean, I do actually. Sometimes I go downstairs and I think, oh, I'm sore. I'm tired. I'm hungover. Blah, blah. And then I just go out, and it's just you can't. You're just like boom. You know, you can't. What I hate is when I go places, like when I've been doing stuff for my book, and I was in Chicago last week on my day off, and I was in the Union League Club, and I walked in, they're going dun, 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 and it's like, ah. Oh.
How about Money, Money, Money?
Yeah, I get that too. But mostly I get the vamp from Vielkommen, you know, that's.
But it's a great song.
It's a great song. I mean, it's like, you know, but it's just one of these things that I never thought I would have like a musical theme.
The book is Not My Father's Son. We'll talk about The Good Wife too. A memoir by Alan Cumming. We'll be right back. The guest is the brilliant Alan Cumming. The book is Not My Father's Son. Do you write about bisexuality in the book too?
I mean, I write about, also, kind of in passing, I talk about my wife when I was married. We were trying to have a baby, and that was what kind of led me to have all these, you know, flashbacks and remembrances of what happened to me.
So you were married to a woman, and now you're married to a man.
Yeah.
Grant. I think we have a picture of you and Grant.
There we are.
All right. When you were married to a woman,
yeah.
Did you have homosexual feelings?
Yeah. I mean, I've always been bisexual. I had a boyfriend before I was married. I've always sort of felt I was bisexual, but I just, you know, that was. I've gone back and forward all my life.
So you're still...
I would still class myself as bisexual, yeah. I mean, I do, yeah.
Did you have a child with your wife?
No, we didn't. We broke up before that happened, which I think, I think that's ultimately a good thing. I mean, that whole thing of having a child was so amazing in so many ways because it brought out all this stuff that needed to come out, obviously, because I was in denial about it. And then also, we didn't have a child, and I think that would have been messy.
Iconic music producer, my friend Clive Davis, was on the show last year, and he spoke about embracing his own bisexuality, that it's a malign topic. He mentioned saying you're either gay, straight, or lying.
Mm. I mean, I do think that the world is different now, but I do think in the past, it has been a thing where people, and it's been a kind of a fad where people think, oh, they're not bisexual means you're either going to be gay, but you just haven't quite, don't feel comfortable enough with it yet, or you're kind of just, a whore. But I really do think that people are a little more. I mean, I think imagine from someone of Clive's generation, he had to deal with a lot more of that.
Oh, he did
in the past than now. But I do feel very much that people get it now.
Yeah, I do. As a teenager, did you have feelings for both?
Yeah, yeah.
Did you think you were strange?
But not in that way. Amazingly, I never. I mean, I write about this in the book. Actually, I think partly because I saw my father being so kind of not out of control sexually, but I saw a man who was not able to control his urges, sexual urges. So I in a funny way, I never had shame about sexuality. I just never did, and I sort of try and trace it back to a situation in my childhood. But I never felt it was wrong. I thought perhaps, certain times it was going to be difficult because people weren't very receptive to it. But I never felt that there was something wrong with me, no.
All right, you also said once that you don't think monogamy is a natural state.
Yeah, I do.
Does your husband get worried that you might meet a woman you like?
I don't think so. But I think that could be in any relationship. Anyone's, you go out into the world, who knows what you could...
Yeah.
We might just fall in love right now and you
worry about him?
No, I sort of think I feel I have entered into this relationship with honesty and kindness, and so whatever, if he fell in love with someone, I would be devastated, but I would think, well, that's life. That's life. Right. It happens.
All right, now the good wife.
Yeah.
How'd you get that role of Eli Gold, and where you would throw away the accent, right?
Yeah. Well, hopefully, mostly.
How are you able to do that?
It's just after a while. It's I've done quite a lot of acting in American accents, and so now, and especially doing Eli for so long, I don't even think about it so much.
He's Jewish.
He's a Jew. Yeah. I'm not Jewish, but I just play one on TV.
I'm Jewish, and I play one on TV.
Yeah. But I love his Jewishness. I actually wish they would do more about his Jewishness.
How did The Good Wife come about for you?
Oh, well, just, really, I got asked to do one episode, and I said no. I just thought, I remember, I was out somewhere, and they were like, you've got to decide, they need to know an answer, and la, 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 la. And it was one episode of a thing, and I had said to my people that I wanted to do a TV series in New York, but this was like one episode, and I really couldn't understand it. It was so dense and difficult. I was like, what? Who's this person? Which one am I? And I said, and I was in the middle of making a film. It was going to be difficult with the dates, and I was like, let's just say, no, maybe they'll ask me to do something else again. Let's leave it at that. And actually, my team, my manager and agents, were like, no, do it. You should do this. Trust us. It's a really great show. It's great writing, and it might carry on, and la, la, la. And I was like, oh, all right. And that's when sometimes you think, why am I paying these people all this money? That's why. Because they sometimes give you really great advice. And it would be so awful if I had turned that down. And
it's a wonderful show.
It's a great show.
Why does it work?
I think because, well, the writing is great. Everyone's great in it. But really, I think it's the writing. What it does is it asks people, or it doesn't dictate to people what to think. We're so, especially in kind of mainstream television, we know what we're supposed to think. And in The Good Wife, all these issues come up, and you find yourself rooting for people that you don't like, or you find she now, Juliana's character, is doing some kind of dodgy things, and so it's very ambivalent, morally and sort of intellectually ambivalent, and I think that is refreshing for people to not be told how to think all the time.
How do you see Eli?
And what do you mean? How
What do you think of him?
I mean, I'm so fond of him. I don't think I would like to hang out with him in real life.
Very political.
I don't mind the politics. I'm a political animal myself, but I just find, I mean, I don't uptight people. I mean, I'd like to take him out and get him wasted. I think that's what he needs.
Archie Panjabi, who plays Kalinda, is leaving the show.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's, you know, it's the end of, it's not till the end of the season. She's out of contract, and I think she got another deal. And I mean, it's a long way away. We're only on shooting episode 10 right now. And just
What year is this? Third?
Sixth.
Sixth.
I know. So she's been doing it for 6 years, and she's out of contract, and I think she just wants to go. And so, but there's a while till she goes.
Has it held you back from getting other roles?
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, in that I'm not available. Yeah, but
so you do Cabaret and shoot during the day and do Cabaret at night?
Yeah, until March, yeah. I mean, because I was out of contract last year, and they asked me to do Cabaret. I thought this would be fun. And so I said, and then when they came and said, oh, gosh, you know, because none of us thought that after season 5 it would have another season. We just thought, oh, this would be nice and la la la. And then season 5 was like gangbusters. So when they came to me saying, we want you to do season 6, I was like, oh, well, you know. So actually The Good Wife is in second position to Cabaret this year.
Are there days you have to cut out and run to the theatre?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why there's a whole thing with my hair about how quickly they can get my hair. So that's why I had this wig for a while. Now, do you know what they do? They put silver Sharpie in my hair.
Yeah, because it's grayer.
It's great, yeah. And then they kind of like take it out with this frizzy shampoo, and I run.
The book is Not My Father's Son. We'll play a game of If You Only Knew right after this.
Uh-oh.
We're back with Alan Cumming, the book, A Memoir, Not My Father's Son. Even though I bought the book, I'm going to ask you to sign one of the free books. Because I treasure this.
Oh.
By the way, you have parties in your dressing room. You call it Club Cumming?
Yeah, yeah.
There's at the theatre?
Yeah, like I have this, you know, quite a big dressing room. And also I just find that, you know, after the show, I like having everyone come up. And I think it's a great thing to, you know, I'm all about, I make soup on matinee days in my crock pot, and and Campari America sponsor my bar, sponsor my dressing room, so I've got all this free booze. And I think it's really great for everyone to come and, you know, sometimes I don't see people until I'm actually on stage with them. And also, you know, I like going out, but going out into public situations, it can be, you know, dodgy, and or just have more issues. So I bring the party to me.
Do you try to find something new in the character every night?
Yeah, and that is the audience, because I mostly interact
never the same.
Yeah, so it's every night. It's like, again, it's like with my dad, picking up on the energy, you know.
Is there a role you always wanted to play?
Not really. I mean, I actually really wanted to play Jean in Miss Julie for a long, long time. And then when I got asked to do it, I said no.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
What's your favourite musical?
Oh, I think probably it's Cabaret, you know. I think it's such a great musical. I'm not a big musical geek. I have limited knowledge of them, but I think it's one of the, you know, a handful of really classic.
We have some social media questions.
Okay.
Suchek tweets, are you disappointed that Scotland voted against your wishes?
Totally devastated.
Yeah, we discussed that.
Yeah.
Alex Hitchwin's on Google+. What was your favorite part to play in the movies or TV shows you've done? Do you have a favorite part?
You know, when I did Spy Kids, I played this character called Fegan Floop, and it was really fun to do. But what I love so much about it is that it's the kids who, it was like 12 years ago or 14 years ago. So now people who are young adults that come up to me, that the way they react to me is about something magical in their childhood. And I love that. I love that, you know, because they don't come up kind of with all the usual baggage and kind of, hey, my friend thinks you're great. They actually come up like this.
Sam Daly 123 on Instagram sent this in. Do you think Eli Gold is becoming more Machiavellian or manipulative now in getting what he wants?
I sort of think he is, you know. I think he's kind of like he completely engineered Alicia running for office, yeah. And so that's quite a shift. So I don't know. I mean, really, that's what's exciting about it, because, you know, often we don't know.
It must be interesting when you get the script, right?
Yeah.
Where are they going now?
Every time is a what? I mean, sometimes you're like, I have a daughter? What? You know?
All right, now we end the show. A little game of If You Only Knew. I just throw a little question. Alan, who was the first person you ever kissed?
Rosalind Blacklaws.
In Scotland?
In primary school in Scotland, yeah.
How old were you?
I was probably about 6 or something. I don't know. It was early.
You ever find out what happened to her?
No.
Is there a mantra you live by?
There's a few. Cancel, continue. Everything in moderation, including moderation. And nobody died.
Biggest misconception people have about you?
There's an S on the end of my name. They always do that, which I don't like. There's no S. Biggest misconception, that I'm as sort of crazy and
really
flamboyant as some of the characters I play. I think everyone thinks I just want to jump up on the stage and, you know, scream.
Favorite place in the world?
I have a place in the Catskill Mountains.
The Catskill. I went there every summer.
You did?
Monticello?
Oh, yeah, it's a bit further west than that.
Fallsburg?
We're near Margaretville.
Margaretville.
Yeah.
That's non-Jewish.
Oh, are we the non-Jewish part?
No, the Catskills were the Jewish.
Oh, the Bush Belt, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I thought we were still, like, in that part.
River Lake, Kiamisha Lake.
Is that right? Well, you know, there's a place right just over the hill from us that was a Jewish kids camp.
Yeah.
Called, I can't remember what it's called, but I always pass it, and I wondered what it was, so I looked it up.
There's a federal prison there in the Catskills.
That's right, and you know
Son
what?
of Sam is there. I interviewed him.
Is
there.
that right?
Yes.
Because once I was making a film in Vancouver, and all of a sudden people were calling me up because on CNN it was like, a prisoner's escaped and has got a siege in Margaretville, and I was like, what? Like this tiny sleepy town, and he actually went and hid he shot someone, and then he went and hid and hold himself up in a property.
Wow.
Someone's like weekend house, and I was like, I hope it's not mine. And my assistant said, it's okay, Willa, your cleaner, is going round to check that he's not there. I'm like, tell her not to do that, because he's either going to shoot you or not be there.
Childhood celebrity crush?
Farrah Fawcett and Elton John.
Interesting pair.
Yeah, yeah.
Hidden talent?
I'm good at cooking for large amounts of people.
You are. Guilty pleasure?
I don't adhere to pleasure being guilty.
A song you dislike?
I really hate that song Popular from Wicked.
I don't like it either.
See,
if you weren't an actor, what would you be?
I think I'd be a gardener. I like the calm of that.
Like Chauncey Gardner.
Yeah.
Being there. Thank you, Alan.
Thank
Wonderful.
you. It's so lovely.
Thanks to my guest, Alan Cumming. His new book, Not My Father's Son. And remember, you can find me on Twitter at King's Things. See you next time.